Hi guys, happy Friday. We are Anu and Igor. We're the owners of Vinousreverie Wine Merchant out of Walnut Creek, California, and you're watching the show for the adventurous wine drinker. So today we are tasting, I'm probably going to mispronounce it, Cavalchina Bardolino Chiaretto. Okay, 2020. It's a rosé.
Yeah, it's a rosé of Terroir.
I don't know what that means. You want to explain?
Yeah. So it's actually very fascinating. I think you'll be actually explaining more so than I will. It's a rosé from the Veneto region, right next to Lake Garda. So Bardolino, like you said, that's the village where it comes from.
Oh, and I have a map.
Yeah.
So I can actually share that.
And frequently, rosés, they're either a byproduct of lesser grapes or after like the red wines are made, they kind of like bleed
bleed the red in. Okay.
Yeah, until it like becomes pink. So it's not a wine that they typically dedicate like to the soil.
Okay.
But this is a fascinating rosé where it specifically comes from a specific place and its surroundings, including the soils and the climate and the lake, give the particular expression that it has. So that's why I call it Rosé of Terroir. So,
okay, but this is the map. It's a bit hard to see, but
So we have Lake Garda obviously on the left. Then you see there's the lighthouse with a little Italian flag. So it takes place in Italy, I'm assuming. Then there's a guy parachuting on top of cows. I think that's probably what they do.
We're in the right place? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's probably what they do.
Who found this map?
Well, after a little Chiaretto, that's probably what... So anyway, let's...
well, can I show the scenery yet, or no?
Well, you should have seen it. I'll be just talking a little bit about the wine. So it's based on three grapes. Corvina, Rondinella, and Molinara. Okay. So typically... Okay, go ahead.
It's too pretty. You have to stop. You can't keep
ahead.
talking. This region is beautiful, and I know...
Well, I'll have a sip. I usually leave it till mid-show.
Oh my goodness, scandalous. Yeah, I mean, look at this. It's beautiful. I want to go...
Well, it's funny. Is it the lighthouse that we saw in that little cartoon? I think that was the lighthouse.
It seems a bit vague. I don't know which cartoon.
The one that picture, that drawing.
Oh, in the map?
Yeah, in the map, yeah.
In the map. Okay.
Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's really beautiful. I'd love to go.
Anyways, tangent.
Yeah. This is where this wine is from, you guys. So we're having this delicious rosé, and it's from this beautiful, picturesque area. So sorry, I didn't mean to distract you, but it was too pretty.
No, that's fine. So it's making from those three grapes. So Corvina is typically has kind of sour cherry profile with almond flavors. It brings the acidity to the wine, and of the three grapes, it's considered the most complex and most interesting grape. And typically, it makes up the biggest portion of the blend. Okay. Sometimes over 80%. Then Rondinella, that's the second grape in the blend. So what are typical characteristics here? That's kind of the fruitier side. So it's a grape that provides fruit. Okay. And Molinara provides additional acidity. But really, Corvina is the kind of the star of the blend.
Okay.
And the wine itself, I think it has like a little tannic note. More so than many rosés.
Yes.
They typically don't have the tannins.
The acid structure, I think.
And then like salinity, right? That's also a big portion of this. Because you already tasted it, so it has some of the... so you kind of agree because from the taste profile.
Yeah, it does taste like that. I had it earlier, yeah.
And it's an intense wine. It's complex, intense wine.
Yeah.
We took it out of the fridge maybe 30 minutes ago, but I think it's a wine that once it kind of gets closer to room temperature would show even more of its
character.
Character.
Yeah, I think that you would be remiss to overchill this wine and drink it that way. You would miss out.
And a lot of rosés, even some interesting rosés, they are kind of overpowered by like bubble gum and strawberry flavors.
Yeah, that's a common.
Whereas this is kind of, you have sour cherry, but a lot of salinity and a great acid structure. So, and it's a wine that potentially ages well.
Yes.
I was just reading recently. Somebody was mentioning somebody from the region who kind of specialized in these wines. That he was mentioning 2014 vintage would be in its prime right now in 21. So a 7-year-old rosé would be in its prime. I mean, that's typically unheard of. Rosé, it's 2-3 year at max type of wine.
Okay.
So that's a little overview about the actual Chiaretto, the blend. But I think the terroir, which is really what makes it so fascinating, you kind of looked it up, and the geological aspects of it are just fantastic.
Yeah, I must have missed my calling. So you told me there was a geological aspect to this wine, and I had to go investigate immediately.
Yes.
So, Lake Garda is it was formed by basically glaciers. So glaciers after the Ice Age were receding and carving out the hillside of that area. And as they did that, they created Morianic soil, which is a fancy word for glacial soil. And what is that? That's just basically like, the glacier is receding and dragging rock from the mountains down through the hillside. And that area actually has very magnesium-rich soils, most likely created by the glacier kind of receding. And the magnesium-rich soils is what gives this wine its salinity. So, and that's kind of the classic flavor profile of Chiarettos in this area, is to have that salinity, which is unusual for rosés. So I just thought that was really cool. On the terroir, anyways. So.
Yeah. An additional aspect to it, it's very interesting, is that if the vineyards are closer to the lake, typically the wines have more raspberry and cinnamon flavors. Where if it's further away from the lake, it's more cherry and clove flavors.
Okay. Well, actually, I did have more kind of geology notes. So I don't know if it's related to that, but they're saying that something that's unique about the climate around Lake Garda is that the water of the lake creates kind of a temperate area. So in the summer, the lake is cooler than the rest of the area, and it's a very windy area. So the winds kind of, it brings like cool winds to the rest of the area. And then in the winter, the lake is warmer than the rest of the area. And so when it's windy, it kind of warms that whole surrounding kind of place. So I wonder if that's kind of part of it, if you're closer to the lake. Or,
no doubt that's a part of it.
Yeah, it's got to be.
I mean, look at this. You have like the soil types, you have the atmospheric, conditions. You have the lake itself, and the wind, the temperature differences.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just fascinating.
We're super geeking. This wine is delicious, but we need to know why. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, there it is. That's why. And that's why other
an excellent producer as well.
Yes.
I mean, it's family owned. Do you mind if I talk about that?
Go ahead.
Cavalchina? It's Cavalchina, owned by Franco Piona and his brother Luciano. And their grandfather planted the first vineyards in 1948 after World War II. And basically their family has established the appellation for this area. So long time family owned winery. That's all I have, but
some of the food recommendations, the list was, I don't think we've seen a longer potential pairing list than I have.
Acid structure in wines generally make it a foodie wine. So we talk a lot about Pinot and other acid structure wines.
So I could kind of list off some of the things I read out, and I think you yourself had additional recipes. So I had fish curry.
I wish I had pictures of these things, but I don't.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Great.
I'll be naming it. You'll be going through the.
No, I don't have this.
Roasted butternuts with carrots and creamy yogurt. Lamb in minty herbal sauce. Greek salad, lentils and cabbage. Mushroom and kale omelet. Wow. Black truffles in winter. Chestnut based recipes. So younger Chiarettos, a lot of people who taste them, they think it's better as aperitif and lightly chilled, which is what we have in 2020. So this is definitely a younger one. But the older ones should be served at room temperature with more complex foods.
Okay.
So
very interesting.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting? We had this not on our show, but we tasted this wine from the shop from Custoza, which is it's funny. I have a map right here. So we have Lake Garda, like right here, and Custoza is right here, right at the bottom. So it's relatively close.
Okay.
And it was a Garganega-based wine. And remember, it's the wine that was already becoming kind of golden in color.
Yes.
And it had all these complex a savory flavor. So all the fruits are kind of were evaporating,
Right.
and like saffron was coming out, and like eucalyptus, and it was like rich. There was honey notes.
It's fascinating, yeah.
I'm assuming the Chiaretto, that's what exactly he's talking about. This rosé is going to be changing in color. It's not going to be this pale pink anymore.
It's going to be like a golden, I mean, it's super delicious right now. I would
the
really...
glass is better to see.
Yeah, it's kind of like a very pale cantaloupe.
Yeah.
I would describe it.
And then, it's one of those things where, like, a lot of consumers think, like, oh, wine should be drank without the first couple of years, and then it turns into vinegar.
Not this one.
No. And not many others which grow in specific conditions, under specific environments. I mean, that's just one of the misnomers about the kind of the wine kind of conversations. Is that you have to pair like cow with steak and Sauvignon Blanc with like a light salad.
We can be a little bit more inspired than that. Well, actually, I have some food pairings. I know and you can drink the wine, but I had the wine a little bit earlier, so I came up with some of my own. But I was thinking like black caviar lentils. We have them. I remember I make them sometimes. I like to stuff eggplant with black caviar lentils and top it with goat cheese. So I think that would go great. Like a squid ink risotto, I think would be delicious. And then that area, Veneto, is famous for fried sardines. So did you say that one already? Yeah,
no, I did not.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So that's a specialty. Starda in sore. I might be mispronouncing it, but it's basically deep fried sardines. And that sounds amazing.
Well, yeah.
Because when we were in Spain, we had deep fried sardines,
yes.
right? But we were having that with fino sherry, which is another great pairing.
Yeah, that was pretty good too. Yeah. So, anyways, those are my food pairing. Oh, and beet ravioli. I think because it's got this earthiness to it, and it would bounce off the kind of gooseberry raspberry notes in this wine.
And just as I'm sipping it, the combination of kind of initial fruit flavors and then just acidity and these mineral and savory notes, there's just so many things going on in this wine. It's really fantastic. I mean, so much fun drinking these like exciting wines. And by the way, this is a $17 wine. So,
$17?
Yes.
So it got 17 points out of 20 from Tamlin Curry, and I think 92 points Vinous.
93 points. 93
points
which
Vinous.
Is a spectacular score for a rosé.
Yeah, for a rosé, and this is
of like any price point.
Yeah.
Forget the $17. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really like when you bring quality. Well, you only bring quality rosés, but there's so much pink out there. There's like a sea of it.
If you go to like Safeway and look at the pink aisle, you're like, oh my god, look at all this mediocre rosé.
And really, they taste forgettable. You have a sip of them and they're gone. You don't even have a flavor on your profile. So,
but that's what we're talking about. So a lot of these producers, they specialize in this wine. Whereas when you go to like grocery store, big box stores, you see these recognizable brands, and they're like, okay, let's cash in on the rosé craze. Let's concoct something in a cheap way and just push it on the consumer.
Yeah, we have a recognizable brand and we have a rosé market. So
look at this pretty pink label on top of that. Like, you have to pick it up.
I know, the pink labels, they're a trap, you guys.
I mean, look at this. Like, there's nothing. This is just like a straightforward label. I mean, you would really think like, okay, this is family made because they obviously do not spend money on like, making a
marketing team.
And no goofy looking bottle, just a simple standard bottle, easy to ship. Everything is proper about this wine. It's light. It's not like heavy. Just and screw top on top of that.
Oh yeah, easy.
Green, easy accessible.
By no need for corks or anything. Yeah.
Light bottle. Just straightforward. The only thing special about this wine is the juice inside of it, which should be the special thing about every wine, but it's actually vice versa.
I know.
They have mediocre juice, but then they have, pretty bottle, it's big, the super pretty pictures. They get like very artistic people to design the label.
I know.
Yeah, it's all the nonsense.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. Well, this is a delicious wine. I'm actually super interested in aging it myself. So, You want to pronounce the wine for me one more time? I don't know that I can do it.
What's up?
The Cavalchina Bardolino. I'm not going to do it.
Cavalchina producer. Bardolino is the town. Chiaretto is the rosé style of the wine. Yeah.
Thank you for saving me. I couldn't do it.
But before we end, I was listening to a podcast with Jensen Robinson, and she's so wise. So it was a podcast that was done about a year ago. So right at the beginning of all, like shelter in place, when everything was set down, and somebody asked her, her as as a professional who's in the wine business, what she could do, and professionals like her to support, like restaurants, retail shops, and wineries during this whole period. And she said, her response was, do what we always do, to tell people the truth. The wine is the most fantastic beverage, and people should have it every night. And preferably buy it from vinousreverie.
Yeah, she.
Well, okay, she didn't say the last part, but she said the first part.
Yeah.
And I think we always agree with her that wine is the most fantastic beverage, and you should have it at least every other night.
Well, yeah. All right.
So.
All right. Well, this is delicious wine. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Have a safe and happy 4th of July.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Have a great weekend.